Hello and welcome back to Atheist Edge. I'm Jim.
And I'm Sam.
In this episode, we are going to I'm going to lay down my personal viewpoint on Islam and its effect on all of us on a global level. And I'm going to lay down cite a few sources as I go and try to get you just to put forth a establishing viewpoint on, how I feel the nature of Islam, modern Islam.
I've got a couple of questions. The first one I've got for you, Jim, is based upon your research. Could you tell me what Sharia is? What is Sharia?
Yeah, a lot of people say Sharia law, but that's kind of a redundancy. Sharia in itself means an Islamic law that's usually imposed by a state government. That's really all it is. And you know what?
What is an Islamic law?
Okay.
Is it a style of law, a system of law? What's it based on?
Yeah. I'll start backwards and go forwards because that was going to be the last source that I cite, but we'll start from the back. Okay. Let me just read this. This is from the book Pulling Back the Green Curtain. It's a mishmash of different religions and critical analysis of different ones, but we're just going to start with the first third of the book, which is mostly Islam.
Mm-hmm. And this is on page 100?
No, it's the first 100 of a 300-page book. I'm just looking at the first 100 pages now.
Oh, okay.
Maybe in another episode we'll keep going with it.
But.
All right, let's see. Countries with a Muslim majority impose Sharia, a governmental enforcement of religious laws and customs found in the Quran and the Hadith. You're familiar with the Hadith?
Yeah, aren't those the commentaries on the Quran by later, what would they call, imams? Is
Perfect.
that correct?
Yep, perfect. Yeah, those are the religious scholars and leaders, clergy. The Hadith, there's lots of them. And depending on if you're Sunni, Shia, Salafi, Wahhabi, different sects of Islam, you accept and follow different Hadith. But there's some that are common to all of them.
Okay.
And the ones that I cite, I try to get the ones that are the big common ones that all of them agree with.
Okay, so there is some subtlety about who accepts what, kind of like in Christian religions, Christian denominations.
Oh, yeah. Perfect analogy.
Okay, great.
All right, so with the Quran and Hadith, the primary goal of Islam is to eventually replace every government on earth with Sharia. And that's kind of the point I want to make, because guess how many Muslims will tell you, no, that's not true. And we'll probably get some comments. That's absolutely not true. And I'm going to cite some sources that prove that it is true.
So you're saying the whole goal of Islam is that to replace all governments on this planet with a theocracy based upon Allah and the Quran and Muhammad?
Yep. I know, right?
How about this? No.
Okay.
I don't want it. I disagree.
See,
I think that's good enough.
the majority of Muslims that you're going to talk to will deny this.
Well, why do they deny it? Is it
The first thing that pops in my mind?
Is it they don't
Several
know?
reasons.
Or are they lying? They pretend.
Some don't know. Some are only taught just like Christians. They only know what what it's cherry picked and taught to them by their pastors or priests or whatever.
So,
but some do know.
Okay.
Some do know, and they practice the art of taqiyya.
Taqiyya. What's taqiyya?
It is. Muslims have it too. Muslims call it lying for the Lord.
Lying for the Lord.
Taqiyya is
that
the same
an Arabic
principle.
term?
No, that's what the
translation.
Mormons call it lying for the Lord.
Really?
So they have the same principle, but in Islam it's called taqiyya.
Oh my goodness!
And it's an actual doctrine where it is okay to lie to even your family members, your friends. Any lie is an acceptable lie in the eyes of Allah if it furthers Islam.
That doesn't even make sense.
Lying is encouraged.
Lying about the truth? Why would you need to? That to me, again, is another example of BS.
All right, here we go.
BS in religion.
All right, so let's see. This mandatory theocratic legal plan constitutes a totalitarian means of governing society. And now I'll list off a couple laws that you may or may not know that fall under Sharia.
Wow, okay.
Enforcement of morality, etiquette, and manners.
And manners? So, you got to lay out the forks and the spoons and the chopsticks correctly.
It goes way beyond that.
Do they use chopsticks over in the Middle East?
A lot of predominantly Muslim countries do, because it's affecting. Oh, I knew you were making a joke. I know,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of Asian countries that are majority Muslim. So, do you know where
far out.
there are? You know which country is the most heavily populated with Muslims?
I don't know.
Indonesia.
Indonesia? No kidding.
Here's some more.
More than Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I think population wise, yeah.
Per capita. No kidding.
Not per capita, total population wise.
Okay, let's focus back on Sharia. What are some of the other things here?
When and how to worship, that goes with it. Husbands may strike their wives if they're disobedient. We'll get to that in a minute too. There's some more any legal contracts. Anytime there's divorce or settlements or any type of court case is handled through Sharia courts. They have special Sharia courts.
By the way, are those separate from like secular courts or governmental courts?
Supersede any secular court. And you see, even in Western culture, there are Sharia courts are being attempted to be proposed in certain areas of the Western of Europe. You know,
really,
England, Denmark.
So you're saying that Muslims living in, say, Britain or France or Belgium
want nothing more than to have a Sharia
court
in their
that supersedes the courts of the nations that they're in.
You bet your ass. Yep.
Christians don't even want this. From what I've seen, like Christian history, we've been, strangely enough, moving away from that.
Most of us.
Yeah.
Ask Pat Robertson what he would like.
Right. Well, granted, there are fringes, but much of Western society has been moving away from that.
Here in Texas, I could ask a couple of my next door neighbors, and they would want to impose a Christian version of Sharia. Okay, legal contracts, the death penalty for homosexuals. I think we talked about that off camera a little bit.
I'm definitely aware of that.
Throwing homosexuals off of buildings. And they value us, non-believers, kafir, they call us. We are just as bad. I mean, in their eyes, non-believers, ones that don't have any religion, are about on the same level as homosexuals or any type of pedophile or violent criminal. That's about how they feel about us as well.
Well, if that's how they feel about me, that's how I feel about them.
I know, right? Death penalty for it.
Although I wouldn't advocate killing Muslims just because they believe in Muslim. That's exactly my point. Is that no, let's kind of stop that whole killing people for what they think and believe.
Deadly force is authorized if your physical safety or your family's physical safety is.
And at that point, it doesn't matter what you believe.
Yeah.
If someone's attacking you, it doesn't matter what they believe.
Right. Also, death penalty for adultery.
For adultery?
Yeah, death penalty. And leaving the faith, that's the big one.
Oh, apostasy?
Apostasy. Yeah. So if, you know what's worse than a kafir, an atheist, one that never wasn't a Muslim, what's even worse than that is someone who was a Muslim and then they left. They're the bottom of the barrel.
Okay. So there's Muslims in Western countries wanting to get Sharia in there, and are there some places
where there's already toeholds.
It's accepted.
This is debated. Right-wing pundits will always really blow it out of proportion and say there's actual Sharia zones in downtown Paris or downtown London, and there's not actual. There's no governmentally established Sharia zones. They might be imposed by the residents, but there's no it's not imposed by the state at this point.
Understood.
So it is blown out of proportion. There's no actual Sharia zones in Western Europe.
But I've heard some views,
but in practice, there are.
Isn't it where it's like certain pockets where in that geographical area, in that neighborhood, there are just so many Muslims there. It's like that's how they operate.
Yeah, go to certain parts of London and. You eat meat. I'm a vegetarian, but if you were in London right now, there's a very good chance if you wanted to go to Subway and get a BLT or anything with ham, pork, bacon in it.
I'd be denied.
Not denied. They don't even have it.
They don't even have it.
Walk into it. Yeah. I'm not saying all Subways or all shops, but if you're in a certain part of London and you want to get anything with pork in it, you'll see halal written on the front of the. And
So it's a halal subway.
halal subways, halal chain restaurants.
Okay,
They
well,
cater to the
if that's their market segment, so be it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
fine. It's just that particular market segment is wanting to impose their religious laws on us, on me in particular, and you particular, you, and you, and you, anybody who's out there. That's what they want. They want to impose their theological beliefs on everybody else. That these laws came from God and you must follow.
How is that any different than, some of the Christian ideology?
Well, I've considered that a true consistent Christian theology is a theocracy. It's that the state is ruled by God and the Christian morals, but Christianity and Western culture have just learned over time, with a plurality of opinions that are available based upon all these all these doctrines, it's just not workable. It's not enforceable.
Precisely.
You end up having wars and people dying for no reason. And
I'm right there with you, man.
In Western culture, we've got a history of working through those issues, whereas Islam is a much younger religion.
So Sharia encompasses a lot of every facet of your daily life, from the minute you wake up and praying 5 times a day, how you eat, what you eat, when to have sex, who to have sex with. I mean, what you can learn, what type of books you can look at, who can go to university and who can't, who can drive, every facet of your life.
Understood. So it's all encompassing. It's all controlling.
And some governments have Sharia imposed right now. And, some major governments. Kuwait,
Really?
Iran. Kuwait is super wealthy country. They invest a lot of money into education. Did you know? And what progress? What contribution to society do they give the world? Out of the top 400 universities on Earth, only 4 or 5 of them are from the Middle East, are predominantly Muslim. And how many Nobel Peace Prize winners come out of that area?
I don't know.
How many important works of literature or research comes out of that area?
I haven't read anything in Arabic.
Just the country of Spain. Just the country of Spain has published more literature, books, nonfiction and fiction, in just 1 year than the entire Middle East has published since in the last 900 years.
Don't more people speak Spanish anyway?
Yeah, but Spain is not.
I mean, that would be evidence that the Spanish have a better culture.
I just listed Spain as an example. They're not the bleeding edge of scientific research. I'm just pointing out, the disproportionate amount of just scientific or any type of research or literature that comes out of that area. Islam is the cause. It suppresses scientific learning. It retards critical thought. It's bad for us all. I don't know.
Understood. So, to summarize, Sharia law appears to be the moral, legal, cultural system that Islam propagates. It's what they propose to set up all governments as. You got to ask yourself, is that something you really want? Most people in the United States, they would not want to live under an Islamic dictatorship. Most people don't believe in Islam. Many are Christian. But even those who are Christian recognize that they don't want, say, for instance, the Catholics in charge of the United States government, or the Southern Baptists, or the Episcopalians, or insert any religious denomination you want. We've kind of learned over time that people have differences of religious opinion, but we still need to be able to operate and function as people working together. So those are reasons why Sharia isn't such a great thing.
I would like to get
they're against society, and
I think it'd be fun to get a Muslim on the show eventually. Maybe we can plan for that.
Yeah. So
that kind of wraps it up for this segment. I'm going to cite every source that I cited in this. I'm going to put it below. Links to our social media will be below. If you feel like throwing our show $1 or $2, that'd be really appreciated. Our Patreon is below. Yeah, that we'll go ahead and put that in the link below. And so that does it for us. I'm Jim.
And I'm Sam.
Cheers.